Hi guys, it's Emily from Hopscotch Interactive, and today I am going to be going through a presentation that I actually put together a few years ago. In fact, it turns out 2018. And I was just recently looking at some of the things that I had done in the past, and it's so funny when you look at something through sort of hindsight and look back and think about what you did in the past and what you thought and kind of how you piece things together. So I am going to walk you through this presentation. It was called Jumpstart with Matterport 3D, A Beginner's Guide to 3D Scanning with Emily Ullman and Hopscotch Interactive. So the first thing I started out with, and I also presented this on the We Get Around network with Dance McBride, and I don't know why I have all these little dots in front of me. I think it's because I changed this to be integrated with video, but we can take a look at it. You can see what you think. So first of all, I have been an MSP since 2016, and so just a couple of quick things about me. I am from the video game and anime industry. I've been scanning since June 2015. I founded Hopscotch Interactive in 2015 as well, but a little bit later in the year. But I think that makes me a Matterport veteran for sure. And a little bit about my background before that, I was very interested in cyborgs and the connection between people and technology and sort of how technology sort of became this way that we could extend our powers, if you will. And so I was really excited about the film Metropolis by Fritz Lang. I wrote a senior thesis on it in college. I also worked in the video game industry selling media for many gaming magazines. I went to E3 a million times, and I also worked in the anime industry after that. Also spent some time in Europe, several years, led the VR AR Association for San Francisco, and founded Hopscotch Interactive in 2015. So all of this is actually still relevant and true. I was an MSP when MSP was a thing. It's not really a thing anymore, but we still sort of harken back to those good old days. I started giving people experiences with the Matterport content that I had created and the VR spaces that I created, the VR showcases at meetups in the Bay Area. So in Berkeley, in San Francisco, I would demo it at places like Twitter. I mean, all over. Like I was just, I really, really enjoyed sharing it with people. And this was also right around the time that Gear VR and Oculus came out. And so people were excited to be sharing the content that they were making. And I was certainly thrilled to be sharing that content as well. I had operations in the Bay Area, Los Angeles, and Berlin over the course of my business. And this is a picture of my very first model that I made of my mother-in-law's home in Windsor, Windsor, California, which kicked things off for me as well. So that's a longer story, but it's nice to see that image here because that was the very first one. And there's is me speaking in China, talking about Matterport. I think I probably brought the first Matterport camera into China because I brought it there in 2016. I don't know if anybody can say that they put one in their bag and brought it to China before then, but I definitely did it. And I scanned a property in Xi'an, and it was amazing. And so yeah, so those are the things that I did. I also took it to Berlin. I scanned in Berlin. I have had the camera with me all over the world. And so that's a little bit about me and about Hopscotch Interactive, which is a real estate marketing agency in the Bay Area. And also let's talk about Matterport because things have changed, but early on they received large rounds of funding, venture backed, and I sort of did a little bit of research back in the day on this, and they were a B2B to B2C. So B2B to B2C. Okay, so B2B to B2C. That means that basically Matterport is going to sell to you as the MSP or the business operator, and then it is your job to sell to the consumer. And it is a SaaS product, a software as a service model, which means that you're basically paying an ongoing rate for the privilege of being able to use their system. So this is what it used to cost. Things have changed. This was sort of classic plan, 2018 type stuff, and it's certainly, the economics have certainly changed since then. This was the old team. These were the old folks, early CEO from a long time ago. So those guys have all left. The support team, I was like probably the fifth person on the Matterport official user group as an early moderator. And this slide I put together for a talk that I gave at VR LA in 2017, I believe. Because this was interesting. This was like right around the time that they announced the Pro 2. So it's crazy because the Pro 2 came out in 2017 and now it's 2021 and we're still using it. So what I thought was so interesting about this, and this slide hasn't been updated in forever because there's so much old stuff, but like it launched in 2014. It was on iPad and Android. And then obviously the VR stuff was really big for me. They launched Google Street View. Matter tags debuted in 2016. Like there was a time when I was using Matterport before we could even put a Matter tag into a space. So many hurdles that were sort of feature requests and just basic things that anybody using the system now thinks that it was always there. Like it was not there. And there were so many things. Like I look back and I'm like, outdoor 360s. Like I remember when we were just like celebrating because we could finally suppress the depth sensing and then just have the 360s, which we always wanted. Access to the point clouds, matter packs, core VR, having this Matterport Scenes app, which I loved, and many people will have completely forgotten this, but this was based on using SLAM technology in the Google Tango devices. And I had a Google Tango device, so I could use the Matterport Scenes app where we were just basically making live point cloud of, whatever, like my hand or in a room. And so it was long before we were using photogrammetry, but we were actually using simultaneous location and mapping to, with the camera to depth sense and, get really cool colored point cloud stuff, and then export that into, Sketchfab or whatever. It didn't take off. Again, it was deeply, deeply nerdy, and like maybe 20 people in the world were into it. Okay, so and then the Pro 2 came out. Gosh, what else can I tell you? So that was like years ago, and a lot has happened since then. But I have to update this thing. And AR on the horizon, but no known launch. Oh my goodness! So yeah, it's taken a while. And I think actually Matterport never really launched AR. I think that it's been third-party SDK companies that have been enabling Matterport Matter tags sort of to be used as AR. We can get into that. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But there's that slide. So what can I say? Hands-on. If you want to get started with using Matterport, not much has changed since 2018. However, you can obviously now use different cameras like the Insta360 and the Ricoh Theta Z1 or the Ricoh Theta V. But basically, if you just want to get started, like how do I do this out of the box? You have to download the Capture app. You open that Capture app, add a new model, check your area, make your first scan, stay out of the way. This is all the same. Repeat it, fill in the mesh, which is fill in the black spots. And, as you encounter walls and structures, make sure you go around them, marking the features as you go, and then, take 360s. So it's very simple, at least on the surface, it's very simple, but what it enables is the cool part. So, camera unboxing and setup. I'm just going to go quickly through this. This was the camera front. This was probably a Pro1 camera. Or no, maybe it's the Pro2 camera. I can't quite tell. It looks like it's a design of a Pro2 camera. So those are the infrared. Did I call it lasers? I don't know who put that there. Maybe I put that there. It's not really lasers. It's structured light. It's not LiDAR. It's, basically these time of flight sensors, but they're not really lasers. Well, they're infrared. Okay. Well, I don't know enough about the science behind it. All I can tell you is that there are, there's this array of infrared sensors. Those are there on the camera. There's the 6 RGB camera lenses. That's the front. And, if you go outside, they might get dirty. It's good. It's a good idea to have a air blower for when you're in a dusty area or in the fall or the spring with lots of pollen. Uh, Status indicator, power supply jack, all of that is the same. In fact, the body didn't change from the Pro1 to the Pro2 except for sort of the front of the casing. And so that has really remained the same. The camera spins when you press start capture, and then the motor rotates itself. This also hasn't changed. You can view the battery life on the iPad for both the iPad and the Matterport that has been connected by Wi-Fi. But it drains faster on the iPad, so bring your chargers. Nothing has changed. Set it up. You're going to need these things: a camera, tripod, quick release clamp, and an iPad. And so it used to be that we could just do iPads, but now Matterport has just this week or just this month, in October 2021, they came out with the Capture app for Android, and which is super cool. The reason that it's cool is that it's much easier actually to save files and back them up if you're using Android. So, I think the fact that we're going to be able to just pull files off of those Android devices and then be able to have a much more elegant backup system for identifying and backing up our models may make me switch from iPad and being always using Apple products for my Matterport stuff to Android. So, wow, you're now a 3D VR 360 photographer. So treat your gear well and be professional. Okay, so that was a hot tip. Okay, scan space. Here's the sort of the path to take. None of this has changed. I don't know that y'all need to know this, but I'm going to put this there. Every space is different and has its challenges. Its size is not an indicator of complexity. True words. Large spaces can be easy and small spaces quite hard. I think that is just legit. Oh my gosh. So this, can you see this? Point clouds and polygonal, usually from now on, triangular meshes are the two main entities for representing three-dimensional data, and the two are closely interlinked. You can't represent a 3D object using a triangular mesh without vertices. Oh my gosh, I went deep down into the rabbit hole. But I love vertices. Vertices are rad. Mesh is rad. It's sort of the way that the camera sees the world, or an extraction of the way the camera sees the world from the point clouds. So you all should dig into mesh and 3D because it will, mesh and point clouds, because then you'll actually understand what's happening and then how to get yourself out of a jam. Mark your features. Okay, it's hard to see, but this is a 360 and this is a mesh view. You can't see. I'm going to just skip this. Point clouds. Okay, so that's point cloud data. And again, it looks a lot like mesh, but it's colored point cloud, but it's not. So next up, let's see. Other features to explore: workshop VR editor and 360 panels. We don't have time. So I think that's basically it. I think that's the wrap up. This was what I wanted to tell you, 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and not much has changed. So I hope you enjoyed this. I will update this. I'm going to be speaking at the PFRE conference in 2 weeks with a whole new presentation on 3D and what it will do for your business. So check it out. And if you like this video, subscribe, like it, and thanks so much.